Hi everyone, welcome back to part 4, the last part I swear, of my in-depth talk on all of my thoughts on costume college. This week I wanted to cover budgeting. I didn't know how much to budget when I went, and I wanted to provide this information. Hopefully it will be helpful to someone out there planning their first trip to costume college as well. I am going to break it down into a couple of categories. The first one is the required costs, the things that you absolutely have to spend in order to just blanket participate in costume college. And then the second section is going to be additional costs, things that aren't required but can enhance your trip. Lastly, I'm going to do a very brief haul of all of the things that I purchased while I was at costume college. I always think they're fun to watch, so hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. And I think that's all for now. Let's hand it to Past Jane to talk more in depth about budgeting. All right, the last point I wanted to talk about was budget. If money talk makes you feel uncomfortable, I would suggest skipping this part. I just wanted to give people a clear idea of what I spent and where I spent that money. I saved up for this trip. Again, I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable about what I spent. This is just what I spent. But I also want to give people a realistic idea of signing up for this, what it's going to look like as a whole based on how I participated, and where you're going to want to save money or where you're going to want to spend money, what you're actually going to be asked to pay for at different places. The first thing is registration. I think it was a little less than $200, 180 bucks for the whole weekend, which I think for overall for a registration amount for an event is really not that expensive. If you're applying for a scholarship, that's the amount of money that you are going to be getting a scholarship for. Next up is going to be your place to stay, the hotel. We do get a discount as a group, so they reserve a block of rooms. It's very important to reserve your room at the beginning, so they have a really good idea when you're registering, so that they have an idea of how many rooms they're going to reserve. This year, I think it was about $147 per room. I don't know if that included taxes or fees or anything like that. The hotel is really nice. I think it was a pretty great discount to get. I think I stayed there from Thursday until Monday, and so it was this much money for me to stay at the hotel. Next up was my flight. Obviously flights per year are gonna range like crazy. It's gonna range based on where you flying from, what airline you're booking through, all of those things. I booked a flight from LA through San Francisco to the Burbank airport. It was really important for me to fly into Burbank because I wanted to take a lift. I didn't want to fly into the LAX airport and then have to take like a crazy lift. I think I got my ticket for less than $200. What airline you book it through, all of that is going to vary. But I would start planning a couple months in advance. I did wait until maybe a month or two out to book my ticket, and the price had come down from when I originally looked at plane tickets. So use your best judgment on booking flights. Everyone has their own, method on how to get the cheapest flight, but I highly recommend booking a flight into Burbank if you can. As I've gone over in the hotel section, food around the venue and at the venue is incredibly expensive. I spent about $40 on an Amazon delivery that provided all of my snacks for the week as well as breakfast. But I would expect to pay, if you are eating out every single meal, I would expect to pay at least $18 on breakfast or more. Lunches, additionally, again, you're probably going to spend in the $35, $40 range, and dinners are probably going to be $50 and up. I think the cheapest dinner full dinner that I paid for was probably 50 bucks, including tip. And that was a hotel room service. So be prepared. If you're gonna save up for something, food is limited and it is also expensive. So be prepared to spend I was actually shocked with how much I spent on food for the trip. The next cost was classes. Registration for the workshops were really ranged. The one that I spent was $5, and essentially I was just paying for her to give us a paper packet and really just for her in-depth time on that class. Classes ranged all the way up to, I think there were classes that were maybe $100 per class, but you also get, for that in a workshop, they bring you fabric, they bring you scissors, you get all of the things that you need to complete the item that you're working on. So really, essentially, you're compensating for those items. The class list cost is included when you sign up for the classes. So, and again, that can range. Again, I spent $5. I think some people took multiple really involved workshops and probably spent more, you know, $200-ish on classes. The gala itself, I spent $85 on my ticket, but I got a last minute ticket at the desk. So if you do want to spend a little bit cheaper on your ticket, I would wait and book it. They don't always have tickets available at the information desk, but I think they are like $10 cheaper than if you book them in your initial packet when you register. Additionally, at the gala, I bought one glass of wine and it was about $14. The prices at the bar ranged from, I think a beer was like maybe $9, and then cocktails were up to, I think they were like $19 for a cocktail. The Thursday night pool party, you did get a drink ticket included. So you did get one cocktail on Costume College, and then any drink outside of that, you could either pay cash or charge to your room. And I think I bought one additional cocktail, and I think that was with tip, it was probably $19 for that cocktail. Friday night social, there was no cost involved there. It's free. They provide snacks and drinks for you for the night, which is really fun. So you don't need to worry about spending money during the Friday night social. The bargain basement will vary based on what you buy. They have a rough idea of how much each item sort of costs, and they'll take a look at everything you bought, and then they will essentially barter with you. They're gonna say, all right, you bought a stack of fabric and a sewing machine and a bunch of patterns and this. How about we start at $100 or whatever, and then you can barter back and forth with them based on how much you want to spend. Really, all of the money is essentially going to charities, so it's all a donation to the Costume College itself. I would say if you don't want to end up spending a ton of money, the fabric per yard was so cheap. I filled up not the wide blue IKEA bags, but like the narrow, tall IKEA bags. I filled one of those up with fabric and patterns and notions, I'll show you later, and it was essentially $50. The cool thing about bargain basement is later, after a certain point in time, they open it up, and then what they do is they start handing you like a trash bag, and I think mine was I think they're like the 13-gallon trash bags, like the tall kitchen bags, and you can fill that up for $5. So if you're willing to wait until later, you can literally get an entire suitcase worth of fabric for $5. So there's sort of the two different avenues. There are two other places you can spend your money at the conference. Now, again, these are entirely optional. The first being the trunk show. I think in years past, they have done a room setup, like an entire room setup, and everyone goes at one time. This year, they had tables on a rotating schedule. So every couple of hours throughout the weekend, there would be a new table set up at the lounge area. And this was delightful. It was always nice to be like, oh, I've got 15, 20 minutes with nothing to do. What am I gonna do? And you would just swing by the lounge and there would be a new vendor set up. These are typically businesses that were too small to have like a full setup in the marketplace, but they had enough to have like a small little table of items. Every time I walked past, the quality of the items was unbelievable. I'll show you the few little things that I picked up from there. And it was really fun just to have like a little place to go. You know, you could have a sit in the lounge, have some water, and then also have a look at these cute little things. The prices on all the items ranged. I felt like they were much cheaper than the vendors in the marketplace. There was jewelry, sewing notions, lace, antique stuff, that all of the vendors ranged wildly. I ended up spending probably $40 on items there from different things that I wanted. Again, it would depend on what you're into and what you want to spend your money on. So, but I definitely would budget a little bit of money for that because there was some really beautiful, exceptional stuff that wasn't also available in the marketplace. Lastly, the last place you can spend your money is the marketplace. And again, this is entirely subjective. It's what do you need? What do you want to spend your money on? The vendors there ranged from, there was jewelry, there was notions, there were antique pieces, antique dealers, menswear, wigs, hats. There was a huge range of all of the things you could possibly want. Again, all the prices ranged wildly, but also is a place to consider spending some money or saving some money in your budget if you are looking for really specific items or just really want to splash out on something fun. I splashed out on something very fun, which I will show you. I probably spent more money than I intended to, but again, I saved up for this and was really looking to treat myself. So be prepared when you go. There's some really, really incredible stuff at the marketplace. And lastly, the LA Fabric District, again, you're budgeting $35 for your ticket to and from, and then fabric on top of that is entirely up to you. Fabrics ranged, as all fabrics do. There were $2 fabrics, there were $100 fabrics. It just depends on what you're looking for, how much you're willing to barter. I bought 2 bolts of fabric. Each time, I think I spent, I think one of them was like $10 a yard and the other one was $25 a yard. It's up to you and what you want to invest in. I think that's it for budgeting. If there's something I missed, let me know. I'll be happy to tell you how much I spent on it down below. I thought I would start off with the stuff that I got from the marketplace. First off, and most importantly and excitingly, I bought a hat from Mela Atelier. It is this gorgeous Edwardian hat, and I literally saw the black and white stripes from across the room, and it was like some enchanted evening, and I just had to have it. It was incredibly hot the whole weekend. There was almost no air conditioning in the hotel. So I got this little fan. It was just like $4 or $5 from a little antique vendor. I don't think it's an antique fan. I think it's just a cheap little wood fan from Amazon, but it was incredibly nice to have when there was very little air conditioning, and then I just added a little purple ribbon so I could hold on to it. Also, I got 2 Truly Victorian patterns. They bring a lot of patterns, but they did run out of stock by the end of the week. So if you are looking for something really specific, I would hit them up first as soon as they open. I did get this 1898 walking skirt, which was really great. And additionally, I got the 1896 ripple jacket. I have a project coming up that I'm going to use these with. And that is all the things that I got at the marketplace. At 2 of the trunk shows, I got this pair of little sort of Victorian-ish, let me scroll in for you, earrings. Let's see if I can get close in for you and have them focus. I got this little set of sort of Victorian earrings that I thought were really lovely. This was part of the trunk show, but they're just these little gold filigree earrings I thought were really lovely. Also from the trunk show, there was this vendor called Firetail Designs, and she had a whole bunch of these fun pins that were all sort of silly sewing jokes. So I got, ooh, come on, focus. I got one that said sewing therapy, and then she was also doing these lovely little hand-poured beeswax sewing beeswaxes, and so I got a little hanging one as well as this little bee. They smell so delicious. I'm super excited to use them, and I would definitely go back to her. I think she has, let's see, I think she, oh, it's not on here. I think she has an Etsy store as well where she sells all this stuff. So you should check her out. Everything from here over was all from the bargain basement, and total I spent $55 on all of this. So I'm going to go through all the fabrics. Let me show you. I got a huge stack of patterns. So vintage dresses, some kind of 80s dresses. I don't know, it's 80s vintage now. I really liked this blouse pattern, this little wrap dress. I loved this jacket on this pattern. I got a Reconstructing History stays pattern, which I thought would be really helpful down the road if I ever want to do sort of more 1700s work. I don't love my stays that I got, so this might be a good alternative to making a different stays. What else do we have? Some more vintage patterns. This one is, some of the patterns you get will be cut up and not in great shape, so I'm hoping I can get enough pieces out of that to make it worth it. I got this one and this one. So a whole huge stack of patterns, vintage patterns. I just got this great blank sketchbook. Actually, some of her drawings are still in here, but it's mostly blank sketchbook. I got these two hunks of big edge lace. I'm not sure what I'm gonna use them for, but you know, lace is expensive per yard, so that was helpful. I also got two magnets. I got a tabletop magnet as well as this great pin wand. I am constantly dropping pins on the floor into my carpet, and so I thought this would help with cleanup at the end of the day. I can hopefully keep pins off the ground. And then I got this big bag of Millinery Feathers. It was just sort of a random grab bag that someone had obviously cleared out. There's also some like weird tool stuff in here, but I thought those orange feathers were really beautiful and would make a really nice hat or something, so I grabbed those. And there was also a hunk of these like quill feathers. So Millinery Feathers, and then all the rest of this is fabric. So this is a huge, this is super heavy, and I thought would make a really great, it's sort of a medium weight linen-y. It's slightly slubby. I'm not actually sure what it's made of. I have not done burn tests on any of these fabrics, so if I say a fabric type and it ends up being wrong, I apologize. I don't actually know what any of these are specifically. So it could be a silk blend, it could be a linen blend, it also could just be poly. I'm not exactly sure. It kind of feels like a curtain weight fabric. It's sort of that mid-weight woven. I thought it might make either really good mock-up or a finished wearable mock-up of a Victorian skirt or a walking skirt, which would be great. I also got this, which I'm pretty sure is a rayon blend. It's a very thin, there's so much of it. There's probably like at least 10 yards of this fabric, but to me it feels like a rayon. It's like a really lightweight rayon, which I think I'm going to do a banyan out of, or like maybe a sort of some kind of loose wrapper with. I just thought the print was really nice and the fabric's super lightweight, and it has that lovely rayon thing where it just feels kind of cool all the time, which is really, really, really nice. So there's a massive amount of this. It's so heavy. All right, next up I got two pretty significant yardages of, this one for sure is Liberty of London print, and I think this one might also be as well, which I thought would make either really cute little vintage dresses or little blouses, little vintage blouses. Also in the marketplace, there was a woman selling Liberty print fabric, and it was $40 a yard. And so the fact that I got two pieces of this and significant yardage, it's not just a yard, it's like at least 2 or 3 yards of each of these for included in the $50 amount. I was pretty chuffed with myself about that. This is what just feels kind of like a slubby cotton. My husband and I are gonna start working on some Star Wars cosplays, so I thought this would be a good like shirt or a vest or something for kind of a Star Wars thing. Also, I think it's mainly cotton, so it would be easily dyeable as well. This is I am not sure. It might be a linen blend. It's like Bill Blass. I don't know if you've ever heard of that person as a designer, but it's one of his designer fabrics. Actually, this is the outside of the wrong side. This is the right side of the fabric. You can see the brightness difference, but I actually like the back side. I like this kind of muted green color. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Maybe a nice little vintage dress. Not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. This is a really, really, really fine stripe. I think it's just a cotton. I'm not really sure. It doesn't say on the selvage. Again, I just thought it would make a nice little modern blouse. I would probably, this is something I would wear in my modern wardrobe, so I thought that was cute. Another little cotton, again in a little black and floral print. Again, just something for my modern wardrobe. I thought was really cute. This is a, let's see, it's kind of a, it's a wool blend. I don't actually know if it's 100% wool, but it has some dongles in it that are a whole bunch of really bright colors. I thought was really cute. It's a lovely little houndstooth print. There were two kind of smaller hunks of it. I was hoping I could maybe eventually make like a vintage skirt or something out of this. I thought that was really cute. This is either a cotton or a silk lawn, very sheer fabric. Not sure what to do with it. I just really like the color. This is a, what I think, again, I have to do a burn test. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Is a very slubby, raw, off-white silk. Again, not sure. I would love to wear this in my modern wardrobe. I think there's enough of it here that I might be able to get maybe something vintage and something modern out of it. It would be really cool. This is a twill. It's like a green kind of twill. Not really sure. Again, I thought it would be good for my husband or myself for a kind of Star Wars fabric. This is a kind of off blue polished cotton. I thought it would make, if nothing else, it would make a really nice lining for something. There was this sort of ethnic print fabric that I thought was really beautiful and would make something really cool and modern. Not really sure. I want to do some research on this one and make sure that I'm not being appropriative if I wear this. There were a couple of African print fabrics. This might be one of them. I just thought the color combination was really beautiful. I just want to make sure that if I'm making something out of it, that I'm being respectful there and not using it inappropriately. I think that is it. That is everything that I got at the bargain basement. And lastly, the stuff that I got at the LA Fabric District. Now, again, I really wasn't sure what I wanted. I had some very specific things and didn't find exactly what I wanted. So these are the two fabrics that I thought were really unique. I had never seen anywhere else. And so I got them. This is, and the fabric isn't even coming up right in the light. You can kind of see it where it shines. It is a like raspberry colored corduroy. And the corduroy pills are really, the welts are really, really, really fine. I just thought this was so gorgeous. I've never seen anything like it anywhere else. It may very well be, it's very heavy. I think it's probably upholstery weight, which is fine. It would probably, I'm hoping, I only got 2 yards of it. It's pretty wide yardage, but I only got 2 yards of it. So I'm thinking it would make a really great Victorian, like maybe a vest or a jacket or something like that. But I just loved that. I thought it was, the color of it, and it's not really showing up on camera very well, but it's a really, really rich sort of raspberry color. There's a lot of pink in it. It's really pretty. And then lastly, because my camera battery is flashing, the guys that I bought this from said this was silk on top. I don't know if I believe him. I also have no way of doing a burn test on it because as it is a pre-quilted fabric, it has this sort of poly mesh backing on it. I guess I could try to peel away a little bit of this at the edge and burn it. But, you know, even if it's not silk, it was only $10 a yard for some really beautiful. And again, the color isn't quite coming up right on the camera. It is like a peachy sort of salmon color. And I just thought, I love this sort of Art Deco quilting in it. Maybe it'll be a petticoat. Not sure exactly yet, but I just thought it was really, really, really beautiful. And that is all I got. That was my entire haul of the weekend. Guys, we made it through all the videos. I can't believe it. If you have watched all 4 of these videos and gotten to the end, go down into the comments and say finished. I'd love to know how many of you actually watched all 4 of these videos. I have been busy in my sewing room. I have a bunch more sewing footage to show you, so if that sounds interesting and you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by Christmas, and every subscription helps, so I hope you do that. I hope you're all safe and happy wherever you are, and I will see you all really soon. Bye!